Okay, so last week we did one-step equations, we did two-step equations. Now we're gonna step it up a notch and we're gonna do multi-step, which just means that you're gonna have a variable or a letter on both sides of the equal sign. So just some reminders, use the sign in front of every number, so the sign that comes before every number. So like in 7's case, if there's not a sign, it's positive. And we're gonna box in everything with the sign that comes right before it. So that's what's happening down here. It's just showing you how that should look once you box your numbers, numbers with variables, and the sign that comes right before it. Just like with one-step and two-step, you're gonna do the opposite math function on both sides of the equal sign. So to cancel it out on one side and to move it to the other side. So how this is going to look, we're going to combine all plain numbers together on one side, so just the regular numbers, and then we're going to combine all letters or variables together, okay? So what that means is once we start combining, we're going to move one of these numbers first, okay? Those are the ones that don't have letters on them. We're going to combine those in our first step, then we can go and combine the -3 and the 2 because they have these variables, they match, okay? You can't combine the things that don't match. So I can't combine 7 and 3 because 7 doesn't have an X on it, okay? They have to look the same to go together. I'm pretty sure Coach Elkins has already put his video up, so I'm not gonna bore you with going through the notes. We can, yeah, let's go ahead and look at the worksheet because I'm sure he's already gone through the notes page. Okay, so on the notes, we're gonna look at, let's look at number 2 first on the worksheet. And I'm gonna zoom way in. Okay, so one thing I always do is I'm gonna box in everything with the sign that comes right before it, okay? Now for this A, for this variable A, it doesn't have a number in front of it, but just know there's an imaginary 1 there, okay? There is an A there, so that means there's 1A. We've got a +5, draw a super long line, -5A, and +17. So we want to start by moving one of the regular numbers. So we've got 5 and we've got 17. You can really move whichever one you want. To me, it's going to be easier to move this 5 so we don't have a negative number we're dealing with. It's easier to take 5 from 17 than to take 17 from 5. So if 5 has a positive sign in front, that means I'm going to do the opposite to get rid of it. So -5 cancels out, -5. So 17 minus 5, 12. Okay, so I've done that. Now I need to bring everything else down that wasn't canceled out. Okay, so here's my equal sign. Don't lose your equal sign. -5A plus 12. Sorry, that looks terrible. And then I've got A. I'm just going to leave it A. You can put the 1 in front if that makes you feel better, but I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, now again, if I box everything in, okay, now it looks like our two-step equations we had last week, but I have to move something from this side. I can't move this because it's by itself. So you have to think, what matches this? This has a letter on it. Which of these can be moved? Which of these could go together with it? Okay, you need to be looking for the A. So I can move -5A because it goes with the A. The variables can go together. So the opposite of -5A would be +5A. So it cancels. And do the same to the other side. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 there. So 5 plus 1 is 6A. And then bring down what's left. Okay, now it's a 1-step. And now I've got 6 times something equals 12. So to figure out what that something is, we're doing the opposite. Oops, sorry, we're dividing by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay, let's go through, let's look at number 5. This is the ugliest problem on here. And if you're at home, it might help to use some scratch paper and rewrite the problems, because I'm about to rewrite this one anyway, because I don't have enough room. So 9 2/5, we're going to turn that into a decimal first. So 9 2/5, 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. So 9.4, negative 4 1/10, 1 divided by 10. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. So 9.4c plus 31.3 equals negative 4.1c minus 2.45. Yikes. Okay. So I'm going to put boxes around every number and the sign that comes before it. I'm going to draw a super long line just to keep my two sides separate. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter what you start with or what you move first, but just to help, start with the regular numbers. It doesn't matter which one of those you move, but you want to move those first. And I always want to move the negatives first because it's easier to add than to subtract. The less negatives we have, the easier it is to get to the end. So I'm going to move this negative 2.45. And the opposite of negative 2.45 would be positive 2.45. Cancels out, and I have to add it with the only other regular number over here. I can't add it to C because that didn't have a C on it. I had to add it to the 31.3. So 2.45. So 31.3 plus 2.45 is 33.75. Okay, now I have to bring everything else down. If you don't rewrite the problem, you're going to have problems. Because you're going to lose something. That's what everyone has done today. They didn't rewrite the problem and then they lost their letter or they lost a number. Okay. And again, if it helps you to re-box stuff in, then go for it. Especially if there's a negative involved. Okay. Now I have to move something from this side. I can't move this guy. I have to keep it balanced. So I've got 9.4C and 33.75. I have to pick whichever one of these is going to match the number I have over here. So I need to move the one with the C. There's no sign in front, so that means it's positive. So I'm going to have to do the opposite, which is to subtract. So in my calculator, I need to write it just like that. Negative 4.1 minus 9.4. And whatever's on top over here when you're moving something, that's what needs to go in the calculator first. So negative 13.5. Okay, and then bring down what's left. Okay, and don't forget your letter. A lot of people do that and then they don't know which one they're dividing. So negative 13.5C. Now it's just a one step. This is multiplication, so the opposite is going to be to divide. Negative 13.5 divide negative 13.5. So 33.75 divided by negative 2.5. Yay. And see, I just took up half the page. So if you have scratch paper, I would use it because it helps a lot to rewrite it bigger so you can see it better. So I've done 2, I've done 5. Let's flip over to the back. I'm gonna do one more. Let's do 11. Okay, same thing. I've got negative 129 minus 8F. Remember, if it's just a letter, there's an actual 1 in front of it. We want to move one of these two numbers first. The easier one to move is going to be the negative because I'm just going to get to add it. So let's add 129, cancels it out. Add 129. 123 plus 129. is 252. And now I need to bring everything else down. That canceled out, so the only thing left over here is negative 8f equals, and then I've got 1f. So now, got negative f, 1f, and positive 252. I have to start over here. There's more stuff to get rid of, and I can only move the f. So since it's positive in the problem, I'm going to get rid of it by subtracting it. And I've got negative 8 minus 1. So that's negative 9. And I'm going to have to bring it up here because I took up too much room. Negative 9f equals whatever's left over here, 252. And then last step, if this is multiplication, got to divide. So 252 divided by negative 9. And all of your answers on this page should be whole numbers like that or really short decimals like we had over here. Okay, if you get a really long, weird, or really small number, that's probably not right and you need to go back and check it.